I want to tell you one story. In early August, we were meeting with another Iraqi group, what you would call an NGO here, but it was sort of a freestanding group that was kind of working with women in, which wasn't allowed during during Saddam's period. Anyway, we were consulting with them on some other things, and someone heard us talking down the hall and came and said, "Would you talk to us? My brother-in-law's children have been disappeared. We must have help now." And maybe some of you have experience here with people who have disappeared, and how, you know how gripping those conversations and those meetings are. So he said, "You must talk to the family. We will come to your house tonight." Okay. So they came that evening and appealed to us to come out to their house so that the full story would be told, and we agreed to go on the following Saturday. So we went out there, and this is the story. The father is a doctor, and the mother is a dentist. So it's a professional family with considerable respect within the larger community. There were 3 sons, 19, 21, and 23. One was studying to be a computer wizard. The second was studying to be an engineer. And the third was studying medicine. Now, that's kind of the trilogy of most desired professions in Iraq. So the family was well on its way to success. And one night, about 10 days before we got there, there was a knock on the door, the iron door. And people were awakened. And the oldest son, who has particular responsibility for security, he had a revolver, and there was some shouting that went back and forth, but he thought this was a group of robbers. Now, you remember Baghdad had an enormous law and order problem during this period. There were no police. So he pulled out his revolver and he shot into the ceiling to try to scare the robbers off. Which I'd be surprised if that hasn't happened in your communities sometimes here. At least it has in my community in Chicago. Anyway, and then there was some more shooting, particularly from the gate into the house, and everybody was absolutely terrorized. And so the family was quickly moved out to the back of the house. And there was still a little bit more shouting and a considerable amount of shooting. And then it got quiet for a couple hours with occasional shooting, again from the outside. Sometime after midnight, the doctor, the father, emerged from the back and said, "Take me. I will come. You can take me now. I will give you anything, but please do not shoot the family." And his English was probably as good as mine or a little better. And so there was no reason not to understand what he was saying. Well, anyway, when he came out like this, out of the kind of the garage leading to the driveway, they burst through the gate, guns blazing, of course, grabbed the doctor and threw him on the ground. Then they went and did a quick security search of the house, grabbed the 3 sons and threw them on the ground. And then threw one other visiting young man on the ground. And the women were told to sit in the middle of the house while this special search or raid mission went from room to room and closet to closet, turning over everything, looking for any kind of connections that this group might have, this family might have to Saddam Hussein or Al-Qaeda or what have you. And this went on for 15, 20 minutes, and the house was a total mess, a complete wreck. And then they came back out, these men were still on the ground, being held down by one or two of the soldiers. And the second lieutenant, who was in charge, went to Dr. Talib and said, "Are you such and such?" The name was not Talib. "Oh no," the doctor said, "that's somebody else. It's far away." and then the second lieutenant said, "Oh, we are sorry. We have the wrong place." And so they let the doctor up, and then they took the three young men up, marched them off to their car, their Hummers, and they said, "We will take them away for 2 days and then they'll come back." So we were out there now because the sons, no one knew where they were. The family was in complete shock, in disarray over this event, which is, of course, a very frightening event. They sort of pieced the house back together again, and they showed us the various bullet holes and so forth. And so they said, "Okay, Christian Peacemaker Teams, what are you going to do?" They didn't say it like that. They were very polite. It was quite a few. By that time, we'd had many, many cups of tea and several cups of coffee, which you really must do in the Arab world.